Now we come to conservation of energy, which you have learned in lower classes also, that according to the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another form. So energy conversion only takes from one place to another form. It cannot be created nor destroyed. Now if you consider only mechanical energy, this is important. If there is only an interchange between the potential and kinetic energy, then the total mechanical energy, that is the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, remains constant. So in any system, if you are going to ignore frictional forces, then K plus U, that is kinetic energy plus potential energy, remains constant or conserved when there is no frictional forces. So this is law of conservation of mechanical energy, and we will be seeing two basic examples, that is when a ball is dropped from a height, and another example when you have a swinging pendulum, what are the energy changes taking place in that. So please copy this down. We will see those two examples, and those examples are also coming in sums. So we have to be prepared for those two examples. Yes, students, now we have to verify what you just did, that is the total mechanical energy is remaining constant. So we are trying to do this first in a freely falling object. So first you have a ball at the point A, which is at maximum height, that is at a height h above the ground. This is the ground level. So since C is ground level, height at point C is 0, whereas point A is at a height h. And once the ball has come down through x, when it reaches point B, the height from the ground will be the h minus x. So you have to draw this diagram if at all this derivation is asked. It has been asked once, it is there in the syllabus. It has been asked once in 2006. But after that you are asked questions based on this. Mostly nowadays derivations are not asked, but questions based on this concept, that is total mechanical energy remains constant, is important, and questions based on this are asked. So now you consider a freely falling body at the maximum height h. When that body is just dropped, when the ball is just dropped, initial velocity will be 0. So kinetic energy is half mv squared, and in this case v is equal to 0 because that is the initial velocity. So therefore the kinetic energy of the body would be 0. But all the energy at this point, all the mechanical energy at point A will be potential energy, which is given by mgh. Potential energy or gravitational potential energy is equal to mgh. So what is the total mechanical energy at point A? It is the sum of potential energy plus the kinetic energy. So potential energy was mgh, kinetic energy is 0. So the total mechanical energy at point A, we get the expression mgh. So far very simple. Kinetic was 0, potential is mgh. So total is u plus k, so that is mgh. Now let's say the ball is falling down. When it falls down, its acceleration is due to gravity, so a is g. It has come to point B. So at point B, the displacement through which it has undergone is s is equal to x. The displacement is x. And the initial velocity of the ball is 0. So u is equal to 0 because the ball is dropped. You have done sums based on equation of motion in standard 9. So the initial velocity is 0 because the ball is dropped. Of course, if an object is thrown, it has velocity, but when just dropped or released, the initial velocity is 0. So now we need to calculate what is the velocity v1 of this ball at point B. What will be the velocity of this ball at point B? At the point B, You're going to use your equation of motion. V squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. So therefore, final velocity at point B we have written here, it is v1. So instead of v we are writing v1 squared is u squared. U was 0, initial it was dropped, so the initial velocity is 0, plus 2 times a is equal to g and s is equal to x. So it is 2gx. So v1 squared is 2gx. So kinetic energy is half m v1 squared is equal to half m v1 squared is 2gx. So when you substitute it, you get kinetic energy is equal to mgx. Kinetic energy of the falling body of the ball at point B is mgx. What is the potential energy at point B? The height above the ground is h minus x. So you will have potential energy is mg. Instead of writing mgh, the height is h minus x. So mg into h minus x. So potential energy is mgh minus mgx. So the potential energy of the object is mgh minus mgx. So now if you add this equation 3 and 4, that is k plus u will give you the total mechanical energy at point B. So when you add the two, kinetic energy is mgx, potential energy is mgh minus mgx. So the mgx and minus mgx will get cancelled. You are left with mgh. So the total energy at point B is mgh. What was the total energy at point A? The total mechanical energy at point A was also mgh. So this is what you are trying to prove, that during the conversion of one form of mechanical energy to another form, that is when the ball is dropped, the kinetic energy was 0 initially, all the energy was potential energy, and as the ball comes down, since the velocity increases, the kinetic energy is increasing, but the potential energy will decrease by an equal amount, so that sum of potential and kinetic energy and all the points remain same. It is mgh here, B also it is mgh. Now let's look at the final position C, that is just a fraction of a second before it just reaches the ground. At that point we consider the height from the ground is 0. We've written just before it strikes the ground, the height is approximately equal to 0. So potential energy will be mgh, that is 0. So you know that potential energy is 0. Now once again we have to use the same equation of motion after substituting the values and find what is v squared. At this point the final velocity of the ball just before it strikes the ground, we are only considering from this height to the point just before it strikes the ground. So don't say that the final velocity is 0. After striking the ground it may come to rest, but just before it strikes the ground the velocity is v. We have to find what is v squared so that we can use it in the kinetic energy formula. So initial velocity from top, if you consider, initial velocity at the moment it was dropped is 0, same like this. In this case also A is equal to G, same like the second point. Only difference is there S was equal to X because the object had travelled the distance X at point B, but now it has covered the full distance, that is height H. So S is equal to H. So when we substitute that in the equation of motion, v squared is equal to u squared plus twice as, we get v squared is equal to u is 0 plus 2 times a is equal to g and s is equal to h. So v squared is equal to 2gh. So you have got the equation for v squared. There it was v1 squared which was 2gx. Here it is v squared is 2gh. So now we will find what is kinetic energy, that is half mv squared. So half m, instead of v squared you have 2gh. So half 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So you get kinetic energy is equal to mgh. From the equation 5 and 6 we get total mechanical energy at point C. It is equal to the sum of kinetic and potential energy. Potential energy we have already got in this equation, it is 0. Kinetic energy now we have got, it is mgh. So you will see that the total mechanical energy even at point C is kinetic plus potential, that is mgh. So at all the 3 points, point A, point B and point C, we have got the same expression mgh, which means that the sum of potential and kinetic energy at any point during the fall of the ball remains same, remains constant. So let's say here if the total energy was 10 joules, then if you are asked the question what is the total energy at point B? 10 joule. Why? Because sum of kinetic and potential is going to remain same. What is the total energy at point C? 10 joule. Why? Sum of potential and kinetic remains same. Of course, at the maximum height, all the energy was potential energy. So potential energy was equal to total energy, total mechanical energy at point A, that is 10 joule. At point B, the total energy is 10 joule. A part of it is potential energy and a part of it is kinetic energy. But total mechanical energy at point B also was 10 joule. And then at point C, potential is 0, but kinetic will be 10 joule. So we can use this logic that the total mechanical energy remains conserved in our sums when we solve sums. So I will do an example of this with numbers to just reinforce this idea into you, so that it becomes the concept becomes very clear. So copy this. This derivation is there in your exam. It hasn't been asked in the past 10-12 years. It was asked long back. Nowadays derivations are not asked, but you have to know, if at all it is asked, for 4 marks. And usually some examples or concepts like the one which I will explain now after this will be what is asked in this. You have to know that total mechanical energy at A, B, C, any point during its motion remains same. So if it was 45 joules total energy at A, then here, everywhere till it strikes the ground, the total mechanical energy will remain 45 joule. Yes, there may be conversion from potential to kinetic. Some more potential energy may be getting lost and kinetic energy is gained, but potential plus kinetic, that is total mechanical energy, will remain 45 joule, because at the top it was 45 joule. We'll see an example. Copy this first. So now we'll see the verification of this in the form of a numerical example. Now we are considering a ball of mass 100 gram. So obviously 100 gram has to be converted to SI. So mass is 0.1 kg. Value of G, for simplicity, we are considering 10 meter per second squared. And let it be dropped from a height of 10 meter. So we are considering point A is 10 meter above the ground. So at point A, the potential energy, which is mgh, would be 0.1 mass into G10 and height 10. So this gives you potential energy is 10 joule. So kinetic energy at point A, you already know it is 0, because the initial velocity, that is u, is equal to 0. So what is the total mechanical energy at point A? It is u plus k, which is 10 joule. Potential energy was 10 joule. Kinetic energy is 0. So at point A, the total mechanical energy will be 10 joule. So now get one thing clear, that anywhere in the system, since we are ignoring frictional forces, the total mechanical energy will remain 10 joule. So it was 10 joule, it will remain 10 joule. Now, as per law of conservation of mechanical energy, at all points K plus U, that is total mechanical energy, will remain 10 joules. So now if you consider point A is 4 meter above the ground. So we can find the potential energy mgh, 0.1 that's the mass of the ball, 10 that is value of g, and 4 that is the height above ground of point A. So it is 4 joule. So mgh is equal to 4 joule. So kinetic plus potential energy is the sum of the mechanical energy or total mechanical energy that we have already calculated. It is 10 joule. At point A it was simple to calculate mgh. So the entire energy at point A was potential energy. Kinetic was 0. So total we found was 10 joule. So that 10 joule remains the same. So here K plus your 4 joule is potential energy, that is 10 joule. So we can find what is the kinetic energy at point B, because we know potential energy is 4 joule and we know total energy is 10 joule. So kinetic energy is 10 minus 4, that is 6 joule. So if required, we could have found what is the velocity of the ball at point B, because the 6 joule would have been half m v1 squared if the velocity is v1. So substituting the values, you could have found what is v1. Now let's consider point C. Point C is just before the ball strikes the ground. Height is 0, so potential energy is 0. But we have learned what? That the total mechanical energy K plus U is constant. And what is that value in this particular example? It is 10 joule. So K plus U is 10 joule, U is 0. So we can say that the entire energy just before it strikes the ground, in this case that is kinetic energy, it is 10 joule. So the total kinetic energy at point C is equal to the total mechanical energy of the system, that is 10 joule. So now if you are asked what is the velocity of the ball just before it strikes the ground, you can say that this 10 joule is half mv squared. So 10 is equal to half into 0.1 mass of the ball into v squared. So when you cross multiply 20 upon 0.1, that becomes 200. So root of 200 will be v. So velocity of the ball just before it strikes the ground would be root 200, which is 14.14 meter per second. That is the velocity of the ball at point C. So without using equations of motion and without using v squared is equal to u squared plus twice g as that formula, we have directly calculated by law of conservation of mechanical energy what is the velocity of the ball just before it strikes the ground by using the simple logic that the total mechanical energy at any point is constant. If you are asked what is the kinetic energy at middle point and potential energy at middle point, then in that case you would have said that the total energy in this case is 5 joule. So middle point means height will be 5 meter. So at 5 meter mgh would have been 5 joule. So kinetic energy also would have been 5 joule. So at the exact center or middle of the path, the total energy would have been equal to 10 joule itself. Total mechanical energy is 10 joule, but 50% of it would have been kinetic. So kinetic is 5 joule and potential mgh would have been m into g into height of 5 meter instead of 10. So that too would have been 5 joule. So by understanding this concept that either kitna total energy 10 joule. What about this point 10 joule? 10 joule, 10 joule, 10 joule. At any point during the fall, the total energy, total mechanical energy, that is kinetic plus potential energy, remains constant. What is the assumption made? That there is no loss of energy in friction. So this is the first part of this, wherein we are talking about the total mechanical energy of a freely falling body is conserved. questions based on this concept can be asked. So learn this very clearly. Yeah. Now students, the application of principle of conservation of mechanical energy in oscillating pendulum. Last time you saw in the previous frame that when an object is falling from a height, when it is falling down, that time at maximum height it has maximum potential energy, mgh. And kinetic energy was 0 because velocity was 0. And then as it comes down, the potential energy goes on decreasing because the height is reducing, but the object is gaining velocity, due to which the kinetic energy is increasing. At any point during the fall of the ball, you will find that at all points the sum of potential and kinetic energy, that is total mechanical energy, remains constant. Now we will use the same principle and see how it works for a oscillating pendulum. In an oscillating pendulum, A is known as the mean position and B and C are the extreme positions of the simple pendulum. So at point A, at the mean position, height is 0 because it is at ground level. So height is 0, so U is equal to mgh, which is 0. So U is mgh 0. Now velocity at that point will become 0. Why? Just understand it. At the extreme position, when it is swinging, at this position velocity becomes 0. Then as it comes down, the velocity goes on increasing. It becomes maximum at this position. So velocity is maximum at point A, therefore kinetic energy is maximum. When it goes up, once again as it goes up there is retardation. So when it goes up, the velocity of the object goes on decreasing, and at B again velocity will become 0. So at both the extreme positions the velocity becomes 0 because that is at the maximum height, and at the mean position the velocity is maximum. Just imagine the bob is swinging down. As it comes down, it gains speed. Maximum velocity here, minimum height. Minimum height, so height is 0, so potential energy is 0. But velocity is maximum, so kinetic energy will be maximum. When it goes up, what happens to the velocity? You know, when you throw a ball up also, there is retardation. Value of acceleration is minus 9.8 or minus 10. And so at point B, the velocity becomes 0 because the velocity goes on decreasing as the object goes up. At any point during the oscillation of the simple pendulum, the sum of potential and kinetic energy will remain constant. That is, the total mechanical energy is conserved. So now let's see this and understand this better with an example. When a numerical is given the example, it becomes very clear what is happening. So consider a bob of mass 100 gram. So mass is 0.1 kg. 100 gram is 0.1 kg. Let maximum height to which the pendulum swings up be 10 centimeter above the ground. So this h is 10 centimeter, which is 10 upon 100 or 0.1 meter. G is 10 meter per second squared. So the value of G is 10 meter per second squared. At points B and C, that is at the extreme positions, you have U is equal to mgh. The potential energy U will be calculated by the formula mgh. So you can say m is 0.1 kg. G is taken as 10 meter per second squared. And maximum height is 0.1. So when you multiply that, it becomes 1 into 0.1, so it is 0.1 joule. So velocity is 0, so kinetic energy is half mv squared, v is 0, so kinetic energy becomes 0. So mechanical energy at points B and C, that is the extreme positions, is 0.1 because potential energy is 0.1. Of course, kinetic energy was 0. So since kinetic energy is 0, that is not to be considered. That becomes U plus K and K was 0, so it is 0.1 plus 0, so 0.1. So the total mechanical energy of this system at any point will remain 0.1. So what does this mean? This means that when the Bob comes down, the potential energy goes on decreasing and the kinetic energy goes on increasing. So now when the kinetic energy is increasing, what would be the maximum kinetic energy? The maximum kinetic energy will be when the Bob is at the mean position, that is at point A. Because height is 0, potential energy will become 0. Therefore, all the mechanical energy, Ku plus K, will be this 0.1 joule, and that would mean that because potential was 0, kinetic is 0.1 joule. So the entire energy is kinetic energy, which is 0.1 joule. At any point during its oscillation, the total mechanical energy, that is K plus U, will remain constant or it remains conserved. The total mechanical energy will be 0.1 joule during any point during its oscillation. So now, if we have to find what is the velocity of the Bob at this point A, we can use this logic that at point A, what is the kinetic energy? It is 0.1 joule. Why? Because we found potential was 0, total will remain conserved, that is 0.1. So kinetic is 0.1 joule. So now if I have to just write it here and find what is the velocity of this Bob at point A, we can say that at point A, kinetic energy, which is half mv squared, is 0.1 joule. So we can say that half mass is 0.1 kg and v squared, this is 0.1 joule. So therefore we will get v squared 0.1 into 2 upon 0.1. So this 0.1.1 will cancel. So we will get v is root 2, that is 1.414 meter per second. This is the velocity, this is the maximum velocity of the Bob at mean position. Sometimes you could be asked a question like this, where you have to use the logic of conservation of total conservation of mechanical energy, that is the sum of potential and kinetic remains constant, which you have calculated by using what is the potential energy at maximum height. There at maximum height the kinetic energy was 0 because velocity was 0. So total mechanical energy is 0.1 joule. So at point A, the sum of all this will remain 0.1 joule because that's the law. Everywhere during its motion, the total mechanical energy at any place, here, anywhere, will remain, K plus U remains constant. So the total mechanical energy in this case would be 0.1. So even at point A, that is at the mean position, height is 0. So potential energy is 0. So the entire 0.1 joule is kinetic energy. Now that can be used to find what is the maximum velocity of the Bob at the point A. So you are using half mv squared is 0.1 joule, that is the total mechanical energy. So we get v squared is 2 or v is root 2, 1.414 meter per second. That is maximum velocity of the Bob at its mean position. So these two examples of conservation of mechanical energy is very important. There are numericals also where you don't have many formulae or anything, but simple application where you have to use this. So note it down clearly in your book, and when we do the sums during the Zoom lecture, these things should be already gone through so that it becomes easy and more interactive during the Zoom class. So write it down. So now we see what formulae will be used in the sums. I'm not doing the sums here, we will do all the sums in the Zoom session. We are only seeing the formulae, a quick recap of what we have done in work, power and energy topic. So work is force into displacement. So force into displacement should be in the direction of force. So W is equal to F into S. Second formula, if the force and displacement are not in the same direction, I had given you the example of pulling the bag in a airport. When you move, that time your hand is at an angle with the displacement. The bag is not being pulled up, but your hand is at an angle, so the bag is moving down. There is an angle of theta degree. So when the angle is theta degree, the force work done will be Fs cos theta. Work is equal to F into S cos theta. Now of course, cos 90 is 0. So if the angle between the displacement and force is 90 degree, then the work done is 0. Of course, you have learned the two conditions when work done is 0. One is if displacement is 0, and the second if 90 degree is the angle between displacement and force. Then also cos 90 is 0. Energy is always equal to work. You can do how much work as much as the energy that you have. Power is work upon time. Power is defined as the rate at which work is done. So if somewhere you see the unit joule per second, that is power only. Somewhere it may be written as watt, and other places it would be written as joule per second. It can also be called the energy consumed per second is 10 joule. If such a statement comes in the question, that means the energy consumed per second is 10 joule, means the power is 10 watt. 10 WATT, watt. So power, another way you can write is work is F into S and time is T. So power is F into S upon T. So displacement upon time is velocity. So this is another unit of power. That is power is F into V. One more thing you have to know is that you know what is horsepower. 1 horsepower, capital H, capital P, is equal to 746 watt. Sometimes you are asked to convert to horsepower. Then you have to remember the conversion. 1 horsepower is 746 watt. By law of conservation of mechanical energy, usually the sums are based on this. So for example, the two examples that we did now, one is the ball falling down from a height. At any point during its fall, the sum of potential and kinetic energy will be 0. Kinetic plus potential is 0 at any point. So that value remains constant. When a ball is dropped down at maximum height, since height is maximum, potential energy, that is mgh, because h is maximum, would be maximum. So all the energy, that is the total mechanical energy, would be equal to the potential energy at maximum height. Velocity is 0, so kinetic energy will be 0. So at maximum height, all the energy possessed by that ball would be potential energy. And that is also equal to the total mechanical energy. Because when the ball drops down, that time the velocity increases and height decreases. So as the ball drops down, kinetic energy increases because the velocity is increasing, and U, that is potential energy, decreases as height h is decreasing. But at any point during the fall, K plus U remains constant. So if at the topmost point, if the potential energy was 100 joule, at that point the total mechanical energy is equal to the potential energy, that is 100 joule. So any point, at this point, what is the total mechanical energy? It will remain 100 joule. Yes, a part of it would be kinetic, a part of it would be potential. At the topmost point, all of it was potential, but now when it comes down, a part of it is kinetic and part of it is potential, but total remains same, whatever it was at the top, that is 100 joule. When it falls down, just before it strikes the ground, height is 0, so potential becomes 0, but again, sum of potential and kinetic will remain constant, so that remains 100 joule. So just before it strikes the ground, that entire total mechanical energy will be equal to its kinetic energy. So that would remain 100 joule. So that is what is written here. H is 0 at just before ground level, just before striking the ground. So U is 0, potential is 0. So kinetic energy will be maximum, and that would be the total mechanical energy. So sometimes you are given a question and told the potential energy of the ball at maximum height is 20 joule. Find its kinetic energy just before it strikes the ground. It is not a sum, it is just an explanation of law of conservation of mechanical energy. You will say that at maximum height, since the potential energy is 20 joule, kinetic energy is 0, so total mechanical energy remains 20 joule. So at all the points where it falls down, the total mechanical energy is remaining constant, so it is 20 joule. Just before it strikes the ground, potential is 0, so all that 20 joule will be kinetic. So the ball, when it just strikes the ground, the kinetic energy is 20 joule. And then if you are asked what is the velocity of the ball just before it strikes the ground, you don't have to use any equation of motion. What you will do is, you will just say that 20 joule is all kinetic before it strikes the ground, so that is half mv squared. So from there you can substitute the value of m and find what is v. Same thing with a simple oscillating pendulum which you just saw. At maximum height, that is at the extreme positions, all the energy of the bob is kinetic energy, which is equal to all the energy is potential energy, because height is maximum at the extreme positions. Potential energy is maximum mgh at extreme positions. Kinetic energy will be 0, because the ball goes to the maximum height, then it has to stop before it comes back. So velocity becomes 0, so kinetic energy at maximum height will become 0. So once it comes down, the entire energy of the oscillating pendulum at the mean position will be kinetic. Potential will be 0 at mean position, because height is 0. So those applications that is used in numericals, we will see it when we do the Zoom session on this topic. So copy all this and be prepared before you come for the Zoom session.